And we're live, or we should be live, 100%
Live? Awesome. Welcome, everybody, to the Motivation Mastermind. It's Friday. It's 5 o'clock, so that's what time it is. And today we're going to talk about how to get stuff. I'll say stuff. Later on, I might not use stuff, but we're going to talk about how to get stuff done.
Absolutely, man. I titled the stream, Taking That First Step in the Direction of Your Goals, which is like so important because everybody, most of us know exactly what we want. We're all motivated about it, but we don't exactly know what the first step to take is. And a lot of people, they mess that part up. And when you mess that part up, the rest of the experience won't go as you would have hoped. Like when it comes to
another part to that, Cam, too. A lot of times people don't ever take that first step because they don't know what to do, and then they do nothing at all. Forget about messing. That. Yeah. A lot of people do nothing.
Yeah, man. A lot of what athletes say, like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, which is huge. So you have to take that.
Who said that? Whose quote is that?
I have no idea.
Wayne Gretzky. He's a Canadian. Come on.
You know what? Brennan was born in the same hospital as Wayne Gretzky, so.
Yeah, we're basically related.
And there you have it. That is the Motivation Mastermind for this Friday. Join us next week when we talk about where Cam was born.
You know what? New Jersey is not a state? Wait, I forget the answer to that. Was it not a state or it was a state?
It is a state. New Jersey is a state.
New Jersey's a state, ladies and gentlemen. I learned something the other day.
Sometimes we wish it weren't, but it is. So let's get into this. Let's talk about how to get stuff done because that's why people are here. It's Friday. You're going into the weekend, and you might be harried from the week. It's into the holiday season. You might be thinking of a lot of other things that you've got to do. All the different things that are added into life. And I hear a really nice echo right now, by the way. All the things that are added into a lot of other life because of the extra pressures of the holiday season and the extra things you've got to do. So let's take a moment right now. Just chill. If you've started this video, just chill for a little while. Check it out because I guarantee the time you spend, the 30 minutes to 60 minutes that you spend listening to this video today, right now, is going to save you that 10, 20, 100-fold, maybe 1,000-fold down the road, lifetime, maybe in the next week. Whatever it might be for you, it's going to save you time because when you can get stuff done, that's how you accelerate your progress in life, and that's how you get out of that place of inaction. You've probably all heard this thing where we say paralysis by analysis, right? We're thinking so much about what we need to do that we end up doing nothing at all. So today's stream is all about how to get stuff done. How to get stuff done. So I think there are three parts. The first thing you've got to do is figure out what you want. The next thing you need to do is to figure out what it is that's stopping you from getting what you want. And that's a lot of people's sticking point. And then the last thing is how to get it done. When you know what you want, you know what's stopping you. Now, how do you get it done? So let's start at the beginning. We've got to know what it is we want, right? That's the first step because I'll use this example. Most people in the world want more money. We all want more money. If you ask anybody on the street, if you say, do you want more money? They're going to say yes. If they say no, they're lying. It's just a reality. They're lying if they say no. So they want more money. If everyone wants more money, why doesn't everyone get more money? That's the big elephant in the room question, right? So, excuse me, the reason is that money isn't really what we want. It's not money. It's what we get with money. It's what comes with the money. It could be freedom. It could be time freedom. It could be financial freedom. It could be places you want to go, things you want to see, events you'd like to be a part of, a feeling you get. Maybe there's a loved one that's ill. Maybe you want to provide for your child's education. Maybe it's a new home you want. Maybe it's a brand new car. Maybe it's just that peace of mind that comes with having the finances and the resources to support yourself. Or maybe there's a cause you want to give to that's really important to you. But whatever it is, it's not the money that you want. It's the thing. It's that other thing that money gets you. So, Bren, I'll ask you, What is it you want? Let's talk about that so we can figure out exactly how we go about the path in our minds to find out what it is we want. So we all want more money, but if you had, let's say, $10,000 a month of income, what would you be doing? In fact, I'll make it a better question for you. If you had whatever resources you needed for anything, endless resources, money wasn't an object, time wasn't an object, and maybe even global location wasn't an object, what would you be doing? Where would you be doing? And why would you be doing it?
Man, Bears, you're setting me up for an awesome question here.
I'm serious, man. This is big shit. I'm sorry. Stuff. This is big stuff, not shit. Stuff. Damn it. Okay.
No, man, it's so true. You said it. We want all these things, money, cars, houses, whatever, but it all really leads to a feeling that you want. And for me, the feeling that I want is I want a feeling of love, connection with people, a feeling of true passion, doing what I love. I want a feeling of, knowing that because I'm here, the world's a better place. I'm doing something that adds value to somebody's life. And the way that would look for me, if money wasn't an option or none of that stuff was an option, I would totally travel the world because I don't have to be in one specific place. I'd travel the world, but I wouldn't, it wouldn't be like every day I'm in a different city. I think I would take like a month and go spend a month at Fiji, bring my guitar, go meet people, play music, write music, produce music, have like deep, meaningful conversations like we have on this podcast. That's the kind of stuff I do. Why? Because I feel like that's what gives me that feeling of passion, love, and connection is like when I'm out there meeting new people, making new connections, talking to people, helping people, having conversations, making music, so many things that go into it, man. Like I could talk all day about this, literally. Is that good? Should I keep going?
Keep going, man. Keep going.
Man, if I had all the money that I needed, that's just it, man. I would travel. I mean, it's not like I want a bunch of things. Like things aren't really that important to me. In fact, like I spent the whole day yesterday trying to get rid of things, just trying to get stuff out of my house. Because I really I would think I'd live more of a minimalist lifestyle, even though I'd have all this money. I would try to live minimalist and just travel, man. And
to streamline yourself, right?
Sure.
To take the baggage off, right? To take like the weights off you, the things that hamper us, the things that slow us down. A lot of times all these things that we want kind of slow us down from getting what we really want, right?
Yeah, and I had to learn that the hard way because when I first started making money doing music, I was making decent money. And so I just kept buying all these things and I have all these things, but then I had no investments. I had, no savings. I just had all this stuff. And now I've got all this stuff. And
you're spending your time using this stuff and not really bettering yourself.
Yeah. And so I think that's a really important distinction. A really important lesson I had to learn was stuff is really just not that important. And so if I had all the money in the world, I'd seek experiences more than I'd seek stuff like cars and boats and whatever. I would definitely I'd go places, I'd see things, I'd meet people, I'd go to events, I'd bring friends with me and create an experience. And yeah, that's definitely what I'd do.
Why would you do that? And this is the biggest question. Why? What's the big compelling reason why that would why that would cause you to continue to take action no matter what?
I think the why for me, it's really because I really want to see the world become a better place. And I really want to experience as much of this life as I can while I'm here. Like growing up, I was really pessimistic, really cynical about the world. I thought it was a terrible place. Like all I knew was like, oh, the government's screwing us over. The school system's terrible. All these things are so bad. And I would just dwell on how bad the world is. But as I grew up and began to mature a little bit, I started to shift my perspective a little bit to like, yeah, the world might be super messed up, but it's also super great. And I could make it even better just by being here, just by being myself, doing what I love to do, being the example that I want to see in the world, being the change.
Why?
That's my why. Why? Because it makes my life feel like it has deep meaning. It makes me feel like it gives me a feeling of love, it gives me a feeling of significance. It gives me a feeling of certainty that I know that I know that I'm doing something worth meaning. I'm doing something that's not just for me. It's for other people. It's making the world a better place. And at the same time, I'm enjoying myself. Just feel like that's the way to meet all my needs. I've figured that out for myself.
If you're listening to this right now, if you're watching this right now, Bren just said 3 really important words: love, significance, and certainty. They are 3 of the 6 basic human needs, as described by Tony Robbins, I believe. Mm-hmm. And when you bring everything down, when you funnel it down to those things, that's how you find what it is that drives you. So he found that doing this gives him that feeling of love, gives him that feeling of significance, gives him that feeling of certainty, and that's what drives him. They're the basic 3 of the 6 basic human needs and human drives, the things that compel us to do things. You know, I was talking with one of my coaching clients a little bit earlier today, and he was describing the moment his son was born and the significance he felt when he held his son in his arm the first time and the love he felt. And that's what life is all about. It all boils down to that. And that's how you find your why. That's how you find your drive. That's how you find that thing that is the thing that you want. That's that what that you want. When you know why you want it, that's how you know that that's the thing. That's the thing you want. I want that thing because of these reasons. And if they filter down to any of those 6 basic human needs, then you know you've got it. That's awesome, Bren. That was incredible.
Yeah,
Cam, what do you think, man? What's that thing that you want?
Like, what do you mean, the thing?
Like, what is it you're after? What's that thing that you want to be? What's that thing you want to become? What's that thing you want to contribute to the world? What is that thing you're after that you want to be in the world?
For me, it's 3 different things, but they all boil down to just making people's lives better. But one is comedy. I want to make people laugh. I want to make like the world laugh because
you're not funny at all.
Wow, thanks, man. You're the best.
Actually, you're hysterical.
The second one would be music. I want to make music. I want to write songs because music is just amazing. I just love music so much. And when I write a song, it's a way to tell a story and a way to get through to people than you wouldn't normally get through to. And the other one was filmmaking, like making write songs. Like, oh no, sorry, not filmmaking. That's what the comedy was. The comedy is like comedy / filmmaking, making comedy films. But I also want to inspire people through a message, like writing books, doing these podcasts, anything like that, because I've learned so much and I love sharing it to people who are willing to listen.
Why is that?
Why is what? I mentioned a lot.
Any of them. Why do you want to do comedy?
I want to do comedy because when you step in a room full of people who are laughing, the vibe is so like intense and amazing. And I've looked a lot into spirituality and vibes and how they spread and how even through the internet, man, we're spreading vibes to each other. But when you're in a room or you're laughing, even like a person sitting in their house laughing affects the people in the house. You know what I mean? And I just love comedy. Comedy, like anytime I feel bad, when I usually don't feel bad at all, but anytime I do, I go to comedy right away. Laughter heals the body. It stimulates the immune system. It gives you energy. Oh, I love it so much. And just by making somebody else laugh, like I could just like, by me making somebody else laugh, I feel like I've given a gift to somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's awesome. And what about music? Why do you feel music is important for you?
Music is a lot of it is selfish, to be quite honest. Like I like writing really, really awesome songs just for the I don't know, the feeling of like, oh, I just wrote that awesome song and it sounds really good and it's got a really good message. Like I don't expect to be like a huge famous musician. That's not what I want. I just kind of want to write really good music and share it with people, but that's not one of my main goals. I just know that in my life, like I have to do that. You know, I love it so much.
Why is that?
What's that?
Why?
Because it makes me really happy.
Okay. You notice like I'm asking that question why a lot. Why is the most one of the most powerful questions we can ask. And a lot of people don't like to be asked why. It used to be like my dad and I would have an argument. He'd say, do this. And I'd ask him why, or how do you do it? And I love to ask questions, and he would get mad because he thought it was a challenge. I just like to understand. But why is a really important question, because the more you ask it, the further you dig. It's like if your reason for existence was at the bottom of this pit that was covered up with dirt, every time you ask why, you're taking a big shovelful of dirt off, and you're getting finally to that core reason for yourself. That's why it's such an important thing to ask. Before we go on, I want to say hi to the people who are watching and listening. Rachel Johnson, Shelby Tilker, who else? Sean Douglas, our buddy Sean from North Carolina, y'all. Alex Corbin. Who else is here? Yeah, we've got a bunch of people on there. So thanks, guys. Listen, guys, if there's stuff you want to make a comment on, if there's something that is your reason why, or that what that you want, whatever that what is for you, let us know in the comments. Let us know what that thing is. Sean, like my southern accent, y'all. How y'all doing out there, Sean? It's good to see you down there.
All right, now, Bears, why don't you tell us what you want?
That's
Bears?
right. Well, here's what I want. My biggest thing is, for me personally, I want time and financial freedom. But what I really want, the reason for all that, the thing that drives me to all that, the thing that I want to impact the world with, is I want to have impactful change in people's lives to help them be the absolute best that they can possibly be. And it feeds me to see people make a positive change in their life. To have people say to me, wow, what you said really meant something, or what you said had an impact on me, or it changed how I thought about something, or that really made me think. And it comes from when I was a kid, seeing my mom have those changes in other people's lives, and I really admired that, and I always wanted to be like she was. I always wanted to have people say those things to me. So that's what drove me to get to where I am today. As far as being a speaker is concerned, I feel like I can impact more people at once from speaking than I can one-on-one. Even though I do one-on-one coaching, I can still impact a lot more people through speaking and teaching them how to, like what we're doing right now, teaching them how to get what they want, not just getting them pumped up about it, but to teach them how to take the steps to get what they want. So the biggest thing you can do, guys, is ask yourself why. Find out what it is. So if you were to say to yourself, here's a perfect example. What do I want more of? I want more money. Okay, why? And as you ask why, when you end up going down to one of those 6 human needs, those 6 human drives, and you finally hit on one of them, then you know that you found your real core reason.
Mm-hmm.
Sound good? You guys, what are your comments, guys?
Makes sense. Makes sense. Everything boils down to one of those 6 feelings or whatever.
Yeah, man, for sure. Like in one of our first masterminds, I remember, Bears, you kept asking me a bunch of questions, and I was like, I don't know. You kept asking me why. I'm like, well, I don't know. And so I had to really think about it.
Yeah.
And it just made me realize how difficult it is sometimes for you to figure it out on your own. Like that's why it's so important to have a coach, a mentor, a friend, somebody there to listen to you and ask you questions, like Bears has for me and Cam on the episode. You know what I mean? Like he's asking us, what do you want? And then we describe that. And then he's like, okay, well, why? Just to get even deeper and get even more clear on exactly what it is you want, which is so important, is having that clarity, because, oh man, I've heard it so many times. Clarity is power. Clarity is power. Clarity is power. And so the more clear you are on what you want, why you want it, and then eventually how you're going to get it, that's how you're going to make it happen. And how we've talked about how is the least important part. It really is. You really have to know exactly what it is you want, clear as day, and then have a strong, compelling reason that pushes you to actually going to get it. A reason, a why that pushes you through the tough times, that pushes you through the laziness, the procrastination, all that stuff to actually get what it is you want. Yeah, man, it's so important. And it's true, because it's so difficult for people to like make that first step. And I think the true reason it's difficult for people to make that first step is they're not clear enough on the what or the why. And then they just they end up skipping over the how, or they do something that's completely in the opposite direction of what it is they want, just because maybe that's what they've been told to do, or that's what they've been taught or conditioned to do. And so having that clarity, and if it's difficult, like I'd love for our listeners to, for yourself, sit there, even look in the mirror and ask yourself what it is you want and why, and sit there for a good half hour to an hour just talking to yourself, asking yourself questions, learning about yourself and getting acquainted and connected with yourself. And if that just doesn't feel right for you, it's not working, it's uncomfortable, get a friend. If the friend's not doing it for you, get a coach, because a professional coach, this person will know exactly how to point you in the right direction. And that's so valuable. I've had, like, even just the calls I've had with Bears or the conversations I've had with Cameron have been really beneficial to me, having somebody there to bounce ideas off of and someone to listen.
You said something that was really, really important. I don't know if you realized how important it was when you said it, but you said the how is really not that important. It isn't. In fact, one of my favorite quotes from my mentor, Les Brown, is the how is none of your business. You have to think of it this way. If you're driving down the road at nighttime and you have your headlights on, you can see about 100 feet in front of you. You don't need to see beyond that. You don't need to see the entire path to where you're going. It gets revealed to you about 100 feet at a time. And that's all you need. You don't need any more than that. So if you imagine your life the same way, where you're driving, you've got the headlights shining just far enough for you to see and not get screwed over, then you just keep driving, and a little bit more will be revealed, and a little bit more will be revealed. And once in a while, you need to slam on the brake, or once in a while, you'll need to veer left or veer right, or you may need to slow down, or you'll feel like you can speed up. But you only need to see about 100 feet ahead of you. You don't need to see the whole thing. And I think that is part of what is stopping people. That leads us really well into the next section. It's a great transition into that. That's part of what stops people. They want to know that entire how. They want it laid out in front of them. Well, I have news for you. You can't know. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. Get over it. Get over yourself. It's just not how it works, guys. You have to, if you knew the whole path, guess what? You'd be a bajillionaire. You just go do it once and you'd be done. The reality is this. You don't know how. You don't know how it's going to work out. You don't know who you're going to meet. I didn't know 2 months ago I was going to meet these guys. I didn't know I was going to know Cam and Bren and become friends. I had no clue. I could not have mapped that out. I could not have. I knew I'd have to meet some people along the way, but I didn't know this was going to happen. I didn't know the people that I met this past weekend that I was going to meet these significant people. I had no clue. I couldn't have planned that out. No one can. So get over yourself. Stop trying to figure it out before it happens and staying where you are because you're so afraid of not knowing. The finding out is part of the cool part. That's the awesome part of it. When you were born and you got a little bit older, you grew and you learn how to walk, you learn how to go to school, you learn how to do math, you move from middle school to high school, you graduate, and in your mind you're thinking, okay, well, someday I'm going to get married. Did you know who you were going to get married before you met them? No. Did you know how you were going to meet them before you met them? No, you didn't know any of that yet you continued down that path. That was okay to do. Life works exactly the same way. You don't have to know that path. If you wait to figure that out, and if you stay frozen where you are because of that, you know what? Just give up. Forget it. Get out of everybody's way. You're in everyone else's way. Get out of the way because you cannot know how to go. So that's that second part. What is stopping you? What's stopping you? What are some of the things that stop people, Cam?
That stop people in general?
Yeah. Why do people get into this place of inaction? What's up with that? Why we all do that to some extent, right?
I think the biggest thing is fear. Fear of, like, it could be a number of things, like fear of the work that you have to go through, or you're afraid of what other people will think of you. You're afraid of, like, judgments from other people. Some people are afraid of success because they have some, like, subconscious negative associations to success because, oh, if I'm successful, my friends won't want to talk to me. Or once I'm successful, nobody will want to be my friend or anything like that, right? Some people are afraid of failure. They don't start because they're afraid that it's not going to work out anyways. And I think that's the main thing that gets people to not even think about it is fear of failure. Like they already they won't tell you they won't say I'm scared, but they're scared of not completing it. They're scared of not achieving their goals, so they don't even think about it. That's what most people do. But when you're told you get a college degree, you instantly get a job because you have a degree. Like you went through school, you get a job. It's like, dude, I'm guaranteed a job. I'm not scared of failure because it's there. Like I'm guaranteed a job after I get this degree. I just have to put in the time, put in the immense amount of student debt. Are you
on planet Earth? You're guaranteed a job when you graduate? Really?
Oh, not always.
I'm moving to Canada. That's awesome.
Not always, but that's what they say. That's what they tell you in school. That's what they told me.
Well, it's normal, right? Everyone does that, right? So it's okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's a number of things that stop people. Like a lot of it is like they don't have the willpower, in all honesty. Like I discovered how much willpower I didn't have until I started when I started these 30-day challenges, these little experiments. Like I'm eating once a day. Like if you want to know willpower, try not eating for 20 hours. Like it's not easy. And every time I do it, every day, I not only get less hungry and get better at eating once a day, I get better at working out. I get better at reading. Like I read 45 pages last night. Like just cause I could. Like I just did it. I get better at cleaning. Like I clean my area a little bit more. I clean my office space. I get better at, everything. The willpower that I create through eating once a day leaks into other places. And I think a big thing is that nobody has willpower because they're so used to working a job, like a safe, give me work, I'll do it. I don't have to think. And then they get home and they just screw around. And that doesn't build willpower.
It's like a muscle. You're saying willpower is like a muscle.
It's 100% like a muscle. Yeah, there was a lot of studies about it and how willpower in one area of your life will leak into other areas of your life. And that's why I'm doing so many 30-day challenges. That's why when I meditate, I don't do this. I meditate with my back straight, even though my back is burning on fire. I do it because it literally charges my willpower. It's like a workout for my willpower, and I can see measurable results.
Right.
Yeah, man. I'd say that's a great point in terms of why people just don't even go for it, man. They're afraid. They don't have the willpower. They've never built up the muscle that it takes to demand of yourself more. I'd also say people are way too comfortable. Oh my gosh, man. All we want is pleasure, and all we want to get rid of is pain. If we want to make it super, super simple, we want to alleviate pain, no pain, because pain sucks and we're afraid of pain. And then there's pleasure, and all we want is more and more pleasure. And what happens, I think, for a lot of people, and what happens for myself, I'm not pointing fingers at all. This has happened to me, and this still happens to me. I still live in my comfort zone in the sense where, I'm living in a comfortable house. I get up whenever I want. I eat whatever food I want. And I'm not worried about money. I'm not worried about, my friends. I'm not worried about my health. I'm in a comfortable spot. And what happens when people are comfortable, rarely do they do what it takes to make a change. When people are comfortable, rarely will they want to make sacrifices. And to get a big goal, if you have a goal, there's something Sean wrote here. He said, if your goals don't throat punch you, or make other people laugh, your goals aren't high enough. And that's the thing, is people are afraid to make those kind of goals because they would have to step out of their comfort zone. They would have to go into a little bit of pain. They have fear of the unknown. They have fear of I've never done that before. What will happen? I don't know if I'm making the right decision. I don't know if it's even going to be worth it in the end. And that I struggle with this on a daily, and that's why I feel comfortable talking about this, is the fear of a comfort zone, man. Get a great way to get out of your comfort zone, or to get out of the fear of, the fear of your goals, is to create a new fear. What I do is look, if I have a fear, I want to get healthy, but I'm afraid of exercise because it hurts. I'm afraid of dieting because I'd have to give up all the foods that I love. And I'm just afraid. I don't know if I'm going to put in all this effort, all this willpower, it's just not going to work. What I do to make the changes, I create a new fear. Instead of being afraid of the effort or the pain that I might go through to get healthy, I'm afraid of the pain that I'll go through if I don't. I'm afraid of the pain of being unhealthy. I'm afraid of the pain of looking in the mirror and not being satisfied. I'm afraid of the pain of other people laughing at me. I'm afraid of the pain of if I want to get intimate with somebody, I'm afraid to show them my body. I'm afraid to show them who I am. That fear is, and I make that fear so much more intense than the other fear, that no matter what, it drives me to action, because it's like, look, I could exercise and it'll hurt, but it'll hurt way more if I look in the mirror and I'm disappointed in myself. That would hurt way more by creating a new fear.
You're kind of producing your own way to say the why is bigger than the why not.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
You're basically creating that in your mind. You're taking this thing that you don't want and you're making it so big. Like I don't want that. I've got to, like, I think about my dad in his last about 10 years, he had difficulty walking and I don't want that. I don't. So I exercise all the time and I keep my body moving all the time. I watched my grandmother, who was 100 years old. She lived to be 100, and that's amazing to live to be 100, I think. And I believe that happened for her because she would get up and move all the time. No one taught it to her. She didn't watch Jack LaLanne when she was younger, and she certainly didn't watch fitness shows or anything like that. But she understood that an object in motion stays in motion. So she did that. So her body was always moving, and she made it all the way to 100 years old, which is pretty amazing. She made her why important because she was so afraid of that why not.
Mm-hmm. And that's such a huge distinction for me, because I've learned, and through my own experience and through my research, I've learned that people will do way more to avoid pain than they will do to gain pleasure. And what happens is so many people try to incentivize themselves, where it's like, oh, okay, well, maybe if I go and exercise today, I'll let myself eat a cupcake. Or if I go exercise today, then I'll treat myself at the end of the day, and I'll pay myself, or I'll get a little reward. And the problem is that reward will only do so much for pleasure, but we will do way more to avoid pain. We will do way more to avoid, and that's why the comfort zone is such a strong thing, and so many people are stuck in it, is because fear and pain is such a powerful motivator. And I think so many people are spending their lives trying to get rid of fear, trying to get rid of pain, when those two things can be utilized to get everything you want.
Here's something that I talk about all the time, and I'm waiting for it to someday catch on and be a thing that everyone talks about, because we all talk about the comfort zone, and people say things like, you need to get to the edge of your comfort zone. You need to go just beyond your comfort zone. Walk away from your comfort zone. Don't stay in your comfort zone. And we talk about the comfort zone so much that people stay in their comfort zone. I believe you get what you focus on. So I don't focus on my comfort zone. I focus on my success zone. So I like to talk about getting there rather than getting away from the comfort zone, because if you're trying to get away from the comfort zone, you're looking behind yourself the whole time. And what are you looking at? The comfort zone. And what's going to catch you? The comfort zone. Look forward to what it is you want and focus on that. And that's the success zone. And in the success zone, that's the place where you're focusing on what you want and how that is so much better and more important than what it is that you don't want. And you're focused on what's starting you instead of what's stopping you, maybe, right? Let's think about what starts you, what gets you started. And what I think gets people started is knowing what they want, number one. And number two, having clarity. You talked about it yourself, Brandon. You said clarity. Clarity is so important. So part of what stops people is not having that clarity for what it is they really want and what it is they really need to do to get what they want. And I think the other thing that stops people is they're not sure what to do first. We have so many things, so many choices of what you have to do first. We're not sure. I have a whiteboard right over there, and I have 6 things written on there. The left side is in red. The right side is in blue. The left side says rocks, and the right side says pebbles. And I learned this about 2 or 3 weeks ago at an event I was at, and I thought the gentleman who was giving the event, his name's Ron Eccles. Ron's a great guy. I thought he was going to be talking about something else when he was bringing up the rocks and pebbles and sand and water in a jar, and he used it to teach us how to accomplish goals. And I'm taking what I learned then and what I just learned this weekend, and I'm going to put it together into this right now. And it will bleed into how to get it done. So my rocks are writing a book. I need to write a book. I need to get it done. I'm doing that in the next 3 months. It's going to be done. I have to get it done. Social media and starting my podcast. Those are the 3 big things that I need to get done. So the biggest rock there is my book. The next one is social media, and the next one is a podcast. The podcast is easy. It's just doing a few things to get it up and running. That's not that big a deal, but that's one of my major rocks because that's going to feed my social media, which is going to feed the book. And I've got to get social media up and running so that when my book is done, I'm ready to rock and roll. So book is number 1 on the list because I've got to start that now. I've got to do that every single day. So they're my rocks. But then there are pebbles, and the pebbles are doing some videos here and there, kind of like what we're doing today, or a video that I sent out on a blog. And then my event that's in January, Live the Dream Live, that's another one of my pebbles. That's not a hard thing for me to get going and get up and running. So the big things are on the left-hand side. They're in red because they're important. So that's one of the things I do is to identify those things. And here's the thing that I learned this weekend. It's so valuable. It's so incredible. It makes it so easy to find that first step. It's simple. 3 numbers, 12, 3, 1. If you're listening right now, write that down, 12, 3, and 1, okay? While you're writing that down, I'm going to read this. Dave Bodie or Body, I'm not sure how to say that. He says, external inspiration is useless without internal motivation. And that's actually by Dave Matthews. That's pretty cool. Oh, Dave Matthew Bodie, that's him. I thought he was talking about Dave Matthews from the Dave Matthews Band. That's so true, Dave. External inspiration is useless without internal motivation. We are successful from the inside out. That's awesome. Very, very cool insight. And Sean says, if your goals don't, you already said it, if they don't throw punch, you got to have big goals, guys. Small goals are pointless. They're ridiculous. Don't waste your time with that. So here's how 12-3-1 works. It's really easy. What are the 12 big things you've got to accomplish? What are 12 things you want to accomplish this year? 12 because there are 12 months, right? So what are those 12 things? You write those 12 things down. After you've written down those 12 things, and I hope if you're listening, you're doing that right now. I hope you're busy writing down what those 12 things are for you. After you're done those 12 things, then find the 3 biggest things on that list that you know you've got to do first. What are the 3 top things that you've got to do? And that's your first quarter of the year, right? The first 3 months, January, February, and March. What are those first 3 things? And when you're done that, out of those 3, what's that one big thing you've got to do out of those 3? 12, 3, 1. I did that, and I realized my 3 big things are book, social media, and podcast. And the top thing in that is book. Mm-hmm. And I walk like, I know. Now I know what to do. Before, should I do my book? Should I do the podcast? Should I make some videos? Should I clean up the house? Should I do I didn't know what to do first. Now I know. The book. The book is the most important thing. That's what I have to do. I have to bust my butt with it every single day and get it done and make it happen. I have to force it to happen. That's my big thing, and that's how I figured it out.
Man, that's a huge distinction because so many people, I mean, me personally, man, I've got so many goals. I've got so many things I want to do. There's just like, where do I start? Do I start over here? Do I start over there? That's a great way to figure out what it is what's the most important thing that you want to do. Because like, oh man, books, music, records, videos, podcasts. I got a whiteboard over here too with just a ton of things. But I love what you said there, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Cam, how about you?
I'm good.
Unmute, buddy.
I'm good, man. How are you?
Oh, so far so good, dude.
Oh, that's good. That's good. No, I definitely like the idea, man. What I read in a book, 6 Months to Six Figures, it's called. Forget the guy's name. It's the weird name. But he basically said, like, the top 3 goals this month and then the top 3 goals for the next month. I guess it all is supposed to be aligned with your 6-month goal. And for you, it's like 12, 3, 1, right? I definitely think getting clear is extremely important, because ever since I read that book and actually started writing stuff down, like I've been taking a lot more action, because I don't have to think as much. It's like I'm paving the way, you know?
Yeah, man. I think a huge part of that is like presence, man. Just being present and realizing which goal matters most right now, which goal matters most this week, this month. Because there's so many things, especially today, man. Like there's so many possibilities. There's so many things you can do. You could go to school. You could, start a podcast. You could do a movie, make a record. There's so many things you could do. But you got to realize what's important right now and in this moment. I mean, me and Cameron had a conversation yesterday about this kind of, and he was talking about how where he's at right now in the stage of his life, he really wants to do comedy videos. He's really passionate about that right now, and he wants to do it. So I said, man, pursue that. Go do that right now. But last month it was like personal development. Cameron was on reading a bunch of books. He was on a personal development kick. He's bugging me about the podcast and all these things. He's like, "Hey, Brent, let's go." Right. And it's different for me too. Like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I was really into writing. I was writing books. It was like the most important thing for me right at that moment. But right now, like today, in this present moment, what's most important to me is my music. I want to make sure I get my record going. I want to get the record out, and that's what's most important to me. But having the presence, because before any of that, man, I was trying to think of everything at once. Like, okay, I'm going to do a little bit of the book today, and then a little bit of music, and then a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of that. And I just didn't get anywhere. Instead, I decided, like, today, I'm just going to work on music all day. Just going to all day and get it done. Tomorrow, it might be writing all day and get writing done all day.
Another thing,
and having that clarity and focus and presence.
Bro, is when I was talking to you the other day, or that was yesterday, holy time. When you meditate 2 hours a day, like it's an eternity. I feel like I'd spent 6 years in the past week. But no, when we had that conversation yesterday, it wasn't just in that moment, man. I've been thinking about comedy videos ever since I was 11 years old. And ever since 2 years ago, it hasn't left my mind. Like, I can't go a day without thinking about it. And I haven't been making videos for the past 10 months, right? So I was just like, I was so excited, and I really, really wanted to do it. And I think what people need to pursue, and I said this to Brennan last night, is they need to pursue something they can't stop thinking about. If you can't stop thinking about it, then you're on the right track. Like Napoleon Hill talks about your dominating thoughts of your mind will reproduce themselves in physical reality, and you'll just start to manifest opportunities, people, situations, tools, resources, whatever, in your life that'll help you get there. And if it's something that you can't stop thinking about, you're going to be 9 times more effective while doing it. Because like for the past 2 years, I've been doing a lot, right? We built Implicit from the ground up. We did a bunch of videos. I made 3 short films. I've done so much. But comedy videos have not left my mind. And I feel like I don't regret anything, but I feel like in the past 2 years, if I would have just stuck to one thing that I could not stop thinking about, I would have been like 10 times more effective doing it. I would have got 100 times probably more stuff done. But I'm so happy with all the stuff I've created and like all the opportunities. Like I wouldn't have been able to meet Berge, and like everything happens for a reason, I think. And that's why I'm here today, like making decisions still. Like I really recommend everybody to sit in a room without technology, maybe have a fan on for some white noise, and just sit in a room for 2 hours. Like, can you discipline yourself to sit in a room for 2 hours and do nothing and just like meditate and think deeply? And like Berge said, ask yourself why 1,000 times. That's what I do during my meditation. Not consciously, but I end up just digging deep into my mind. And it's blown my mind in the past week. And I highly suggest, if you don't know what you want to do with your life, start meditating 2 hours a day. It's intense. But like, what's more intense? Meditating 2 hours a day or working 9 to 5 for 50 years?
Yeah, man. And there's something you said there that I thought I kind of want to touch on. You said like these comedy videos, it's something that you just couldn't stop thinking about for the past 2 years. but for some reason you weren't doing it. Right? I can't stop thinking about comedy videos apparently, but you haven't made comedy videos in 10 months. And for some people, like, I think it's such a great point to find what it is you're so passionate about that you can't stop thinking about it. You can't sleep. It wakes you up, like you have to do it. But for some people, and I know a lot of people, they don't have that. They don't have that thing that they think about all day. They don't have that kind of passion for something that, you know, they just don't. Or if they do, maybe they can't stop thinking about food. Maybe they can't stop thinking about drugs. Maybe they can't stop thinking about movies or video games, right? Like for some people, I think it can become a negative thing too. And so I think it's important to know exactly what it is you want and why you want it, and to actually pursue it. Because like you said, for 10 months you've been thinking about these, or for 10 months you haven't done these comedy videos, but you couldn't stop thinking about it. You still weren't doing it.
Brent, if you ask a little kid what they want, they'll tell you in 3 seconds. They'll tell you what they dream about. They'll tell you what their hopes and dreams are, what they want to be when they grow up. If you ask an adult, a lot of times they don't know the answer to it, because our lives become so crowded with information, with technology, with things that we have to do, to-do lists, people telling us what their needs are, other people's agendas, and the constant barrage of the news and the constant barrage of commercials and things like that, where people are trying to get our attention, that we lose that focus of the inside of that inner being of us, for what our core is, for who we are, for what we're here to do, for what our purpose is, for what we want to be, for what our dreams, hopes, and life aspirations are. And I think that's a little bit about what Cam was saying. When you quiet the world, that's when you get that revelation. A friend of mine, Cam, I've been meaning to tell you about this. A friend of mine, he's one of my former students. He went to, I guess it was somewhere in Asia, and he was meditating for, I think it was 10 days straight.
Wow.
I paused there just because that's a pretty big tamale. 10 days straight.
Yeah, honestly, that would feel like an eternity.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's crazy, man.
But,
my favorite example is my favorite like analogy for it is like you have an Etch-a-Sketch and it's full of shit. Shake it. Like by shaking it, that's meditation. It's clearing everything. It's like wiping off the chalkboard so there's room to rewrite what you want. Just think for yourself, you know?
Cam, next Friday, can we maybe talk about meditation more? Because I know you do it a lot. I've done some of it. I know, Bren, you've done some of it too. Maybe we should make that a topic to talk about how you do it, how you go about doing it, some of the struggles maybe that you've had, some of the struggles that we've had, and some of the struggles that people would have to actually go through and do meditation. Because you really can't start at 2 hours. That's pretty tough to do. And 2 hours, quite frankly, probably isn't something that is in everyone's wheelhouse, sometimes because they have a family and they can't take 2 hours out of their day to give just to themselves. But they certainly can do 10 minutes, and 10 minutes can be very effective. You don't need 2 hours all the time. 2 hours is probably great, but you don't need that to have that be something that can have an impact on your life.
Absolutely.
But I wanted to add this one thing. You were talking about, what's that thing that drives you, that you really want to do? And this word, I think, is the word to use for that. I hope it's reading forward for everybody. It's obsessive. What is it that you obsess about? Right? What is that thing that you obsess about? And I don't mean like I obsess about people who sit in the left lane when I'm driving, and that bothers me. I mean, what is it that in life that you obsess about, that you want so badly to do, to have, to be, to become? That's the thing that you should be, I don't want to say chasing. That's the thing you should be pursuing. That's the thing you should be becoming.
Absolutely. Yeah, like you don't you've got to be obsessed with it. And I think the reason that keeps people from being obsessed is like not thinking they can actually do it, listening to what people say around them.
Sean teaches, maybe we should have Sean on with us next week. He said he teaches a mindfulness class, so maybe we should have him on with us next week.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that'll be a good episode, man. I've been meaning, because in every
Sean's
single
low
leading
energy,
life...
everybody. Just be prepared. Sean is very low energy. Very laid back. He's really subdued. He'll talk to you like this. He'll keep you. No, that's not true at all. Sean is like off the wall. Crazy. Love him. He's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's get to this last thing. How do I get it done? Cam, how do people get it done? How can they get that thing that they want to get done? By clearing things out of the way, right?
Yes.
Is that it?
Yes. Well, there's a few things. Like, you have to clear things out of the way 100% just to avoid stress.
And in life, right?
What's that?
In your mind, you've got to clear things out of the way, and then in life, right?
I had a coaching client, and he was like, great guy. He's got crazy ambition, but mentally he was depressed and unhappy and stressed all the time, and he was a pessimist. He was just like naturally negative. I truly believe that like step one is just mastering your mind and making sure that your head is straight. Because sure, you could be obsessed with something, but if you're just angry all the time, you'd hate people, and you're doing this on your own, like, realize you can't do it on your own. You gotta invite people in, and learn from people. Invite people into your mind. Let them teach you stuff like that. Like, don't be so closed-minded. So once you get your mindset figured out, which, like, there is a wealth of knowledge for free about mindset on the internet, so go for it.
And we talked about focusing on what it is that you want rather than what you don't want. So some of you who are watching and listening right now might be saying something like, oh, well, I'm not good at meditation, or I don't like meditation. And those are really powerful statements when you say things like that. And there are statements about who you are as a person. And who you are, I just noticed you have toilet paper on the right-hand side of your desk.
Yeah, that's for my nose. My nose waters.
That's just great. That's really appetizing. Okay, anyhow. When you say things like that, you're defining yourself in ways that limit you. So get that language out of your vocabulary. Take those types of I am statements out of your language and put in new types of I am statements. I am pursuing mindfulness. I am working on becoming better at meditation. I am learning to meditate. I am meditating 2 minutes a day. I am enjoying meditation. I am learning to love meditation. Yes. I am getting more clarity in life. Speak in those terms. And they're powerful terms as well. It's a very powerful way to speak when you speak in I am statements. So be careful not to say I am and follow it with something negative. We do that enough in our minds all the time. And that's part of the reason you're where you are. That's part of the reason you don't know what you want, because you're telling yourself negative things about yourself. That's why you're stopping, because you're saying you can't start. That's why you can't get it done, because you're saying you can't. Talk about what you are doing and say it in the present tense, not the future tense, because tomorrow never comes. It just doesn't. If you say, I will start to meditate tomorrow, when it's tomorrow, it's today, and then tomorrow's the next day. It just never gets there. So you've got to make sure you're speaking in the right language. Words are extremely powerful.
Yeah, for me, like when it came to meditation, I kept telling myself, I don't like meditating. It's not that fun. But the more I do what I don't like, the better I feel. Because trust me, I don't like eating once a day. I love food. If I could eat every second of the day and not feel full and just like keep eating all the time, I would. But I can't. And you're not gonna like working out at the beginning. You're not gonna like reading at the beginning. I still don't like the 2-hour meditation. I like what I get from it, but it is tough to sit there for 2 hours. It hurts. But I still do it because the way I frame it, like you're talking about, like framing it in a good way so that like subconsciously you feel a little bit better about it, and you know, you take a little bit more action and a lot more effortlessly as well. For me, I just I frame it in the way of like I am like building willpower. Like the bar, like there's a bar of willpower, and it's just going up every time I meditate, every time I'm hungry and I still don't eat. Every time I do 50 push-ups, anything like that. And I just keep that in the back of my head, like I'm building willpower, I'm getting better and better, and I'm feeling the results. Maybe I'm only feeling results because I think I'm feeling the results. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's not even from the meditation, it's just from the way I think about it, which is like the perfect placebo effect that I don't mind.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, if I had anything to add, I would say when it comes to getting it done, all things aside, like you need to just do it. Like it's the Nike theme, fucking just do it. You need to absolutely be 100% in it.
And you mean that you said that with a PH, not an F, because it's okay if you say it with a PH.
Well, we talked about that before the show. It's a French thing.
Yeah.
No, but like I use that word because it's that important. It's that important. Like I want to get serious about it. And I think when it comes to just doing it, you really have to get out of your comfort zone completely. And if you don't want to use the word comfort zone, you need to just change things. Like change what you eat, change what time you wake up, change the way, like where you walk, change the way you talk to yourself, change the music you listen to, change the TV you watch, change the books you read, change everything. And I think the more if you want to change your life, or you want to change something in your life, you just have to change every little possible thing that you can. And it's those small changes, that daily small changes, that will lead to the overall big change that you want in your life. And that's been huge for me. Like, man, 2 years ago, I don't think there's anything I do today that I used to do 2 years ago. I just can't think of a single thing. Like maybe I still sit down when I pee sometimes. If I'm tired, I'll sit like.
Whoa. You sit down?
Whoa. Yeah, man. Think about it.
It sounds like a different kind of a show now.
You wake up in the morning, you're tired, you don't feel like standing, you just sit down, man. It's a lot easier.
No, never.
It's a Canadian thing, man.
It's a weird Canadian thing.
You know what? I'm so offended.
You got to come to Canada. We'll show you some Canadian.
No, I might not want to come now.
In Canada. We'll show you how to piss. We'll show you what maple syrup's really like.
Do people sit in urinals in Canada?
Sit in urinals? We don't have urinals, man. We just have toilets. You don't need a urinal when you're sitting down. Like what? This guy.
All right, well, this has gone a different way at the end of the stream here.
You heard it here first, folks. Sit down when you pee. Just do it. So
try it. Try something new. And I think it's like a momentum thing. It's like a willpower thing.
You stand when you poop?
What?
Let's just take a moment to imagine what that would be like. I don't think he's.
I don't know what's going on above the border here.
What I'm trying to get at, guys, is you got to create some momentum. If you're trying to change your life, sometimes it's difficult for you to make the big change, to make the big mindset change, the big habit change, the big lifestyle change. But when you make small little changes, like as simple as I'm going to listen to a different song today, I'm going to eat a different kind of food, I'm going to drive a different way to work, I'm going to use the washroom a different way, or I'm going to wash my hands backwards or something, or I'm going to, change those little things, and then it builds a willpower, it builds momentum, and you'll be more willing to make the bigger changes because you'll see like change is not such a bad thing. A lot of people are afraid of change. They're afraid. It's a fear. And when you make the small changes, the little things that don't matter all that much, you'll be way more willing to make the big changes in life. And that's a huge step to getting that first step in, getting the first thing done. And that's what this whole show is kind of about.
So our three things, guys. What do you want? Why do you want it? What is stopping you? And just go get it done. Oh, also, listen, stand when you pee, and please sit when you poop.
Please.
Unless you're a lady, then you can sit both times.
You can do whatever you want.
Okay,
all right, Cam.
We will see.
Roll the outro before.
I've already rolled the outro, bro.
Before we get too far into the bathroom talk.
I rolled the outro, brother.
Oh, well then.
So
goodbye.
Yeah, just say bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Barrage, last words?
Goodbye.